Follow Emma as she fights to reawaken her magical powers in order to aid a unique cast of characters, all of whom are trapped inside of a traveling amusement park. Having lost memories from youth, Emma must rediscover her past through love and friendship in this stunning, dreamlike fantasy Otome. Welcome to Blurty Otome, and this is my review of Genso Manege. I've been tricked by Otome before. Cafe Enchante, with its chill, slice-of-life cafe aesthetic, tricked me into thinking it was going to be a wholesome romance. Spoiler alert, it's anything but. So when I saw Genso Manege's soft art style and pastel color palette, I was already anticipating a little trauma to be lurking behind the cutesy facade, and I was not wrong. In Genso Manege, follow Emma as she embarks on a magical adventure of self-discovery. Emma is secretly a witch, and after losing her memories and her magic in an accident that also took the life of her father, she has been living peacefully in the rustic French countryside with her foster family. Her only memento from her childhood is a Manege music box that she received from her father. Her humdrum life becomes a bit more exciting when a traveling amusement park arrives in town. Enchanted by the wonderful attractions and performances, Emma is surprised to see that the Manege at the park bears a striking resemblance to her music box. After making the acquaintance of the park's enigmatic director, Hugo, he informs her that he and the rest of the Rev staff are bound to the park by powerful magic, and only she can free them. As she works at the park, Emma gets to know each of the staff members and delves into the secrets of the magic of the Rev and its connection to her long-forgotten memories. Along the way, you can romance 6 love interests. At the start of the game, Hugo, Sergei, Crier, Lucille, and Leon's routes are playable, while childhood friend Arnaud's route is locked. Hugo's route reveals a lot of the plot revolving around the Rev and why everyone is trapped there, while Arnaud's route is the truth ending. While Mages Inc. recommends playing Hugo first, you can play the other routes without any of the context from his route with no issue. But because of the reveals in Hugo's route, I kind of recommend playing the other routes first and saving him and Arnaud for last. Most of the love interests are employees of the park, with Arnaud being the only exception. At the start of each route, Emma is given the task of shadowing one of the allies in their day-to-day duties around the park to help acclimate her to working at the Rev. While her role varies in each route, they all give her the opportunity to not only spend one-on-one time with the chosen ally, but to also familiarize herself with the intricacies of the park. As you spend more time with the love interests, you delve into their individual backstories and help them work through their past trauma. First up is Hugo, the Rev's charismatic and mysterious director. Hugo's route delves into the secrets of the Rev and reveals a lot about Emma's forgotten past, so it's a good idea to hold off on playing his route until later. Hugo kind of reminds me of Hal from Hal's Moving Castle. Both are charming, princely characters who are prone to flights of fancy and childishness. He's very sweet and supportive, but the age gap in his route really rubbed me the wrong way for reasons revealed in the plot. Next is Serge, the cool and intimidating accountant of the park, and Hugo's right-hand man. I love me a sexy Megane man, so I had my eye on Serge from jump. Unfortunately, the man only has eyes for Hugo, is married to his job. But deep down, Serge is the ultimate green flag. This man is super sweet, if not awkward when it comes to relationships, so he may take a bit of wearing down, but once you do, he is perfect. This is the man you marry. Then there's Crier, the super sun performer of the park. I cannot tell you how much fun I had playing this route. This is tsundere done right. There's just the right amount of spice and sweetness in this route. He can be a bit of a brat, but deep down, he is super sweet, if not a smidge immature, but that leads to some really fun moments between him and Emma. I absolutely loved their chemistry in this route. The romance was top tier. Then there's Lucille, the park's mechanic. The man prefers to spend his time alone in his room, so you don't really see much of him outside of his own route. Unlike everyone else at the Rev, Lucille doesn't want to be freed and has a special distrust for Emma and her magic. He is a bit of a tough nut to crack, but once you do, he's an adorable blushing mess. He is such a sweet being that must be protected at all costs. Next is Leon, the bunny mascot of the park. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little curious to see how dating a giant furry was gonna play out in an Otome game because logistics. Leon is too much on the cute and innocent side for me, so it's hard to see him as a love interest, But I will admit that compared to the others, he's probably the best match for Emma. They're both soft, pure-hearted beings who love picture books and just see the best in everyone and everything. Of course, as it often is with the most pure Otome love interest, Leon's route is the most heartbreaking. They really hit you hard in this route, so be sure to prepare your heart. The final love interest is Emma's childhood friend Arnaud. Now, full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of childhood friend routes at the best of times, but they really did Arnaud dirty in this game. He's the typical sweet brotherly childhood friend with a one-sided crush on the MC, and that's pretty much all there is to him. He works as a reporter for a local newspaper, but instead of getting to know him as a character, the writers focus solely on his obsession with Emma, which is such a waste. His route can be considered the true end since it answers a lot of the questions left unanswered by Hugo's route, but the romance kind of takes a backseat to the plot. And who could forget about the game's leading lady? Emma is an absolute delight. She's sweet and selfless to a fault, but she's just as stubborn and steadfast. She cares deeply for those around her to the point of taking on their burdens as her own, which is a common Otome heroine trope. But where Emma differs is that she is fiercely independent, preferring to figure things out on her own rather than relying on others for support. She has a good heart and always sees the best in others, never giving up on those she cares about. While she can be a bit on the naive side, Emma gives just as good as she gets and isn't afraid to stand up for herself when she needs to. Genso Manege is a character-driven story with each route focusing on a conflict unique to that past love interest. And trust me when I say some of these routes get pretty heavy, touching on topics like prejudice, childhood trauma, illness, and even loss and grief. The writers don't pull their emotional punches, and I will admit to crying during a few routes. And while I expected a bit of angst, my heart still wasn't prepared, which speaks to how well written these characters are. I was invested in their stories enough to get emotional when things started going sideways. It's not quite the angst levels of Verge Evermore, but trust me when I say some of these routes will have you reaching for the Kleenex, especially the bad endings. Those were some of the wildest, most heartbreaking endings I have experienced in an Otome. In contrast to the darker themes of the game, the romance in Genso Manege absolutely delivers on all the sugary sweetness. This game seriously has some of the cutest romantic moments that had me kicking my feet and giggling the whole way through. While not the most mature romance, I did like the more wholesome and intimate love stories. With each interaction, Emma and the allies develop genuine friendships built on mutual respect and care that gradually transition into something more as they get to know each other more intimately. The romance takes time to build, and it makes the resulting relationships feel more believable because they're built on more than casual attraction. Emma has to work to wear some of these boys down. Genso Manege has some cute features and extras that add to the overall gameplay experience. The common route consists of 4 chapters, including the prologue, and helps set the groundwork for the world and the conflict surrounding the Rev. The individual routes start at chapter 4 and run for 5 chapters and culminate in 2 distinct endings. The Amour ends are the best ends and the Rev ends are the bad ends. While the gameplay is pretty standard for an Otome, there is a cute short minigame called the Evel system that revolves around Emma's magical training. The minigame is simple enough and really isn't that labor intensive, but it can get repetitive, so you can skip it after the first time without any consequences. After completing the Amour ends for the individual characters, you can unlock additional voice content and after stories. The voice content is really fun. My favorites are the short notes from the voice actors of each character. They share insight into the characters and their feelings about the role that gives some really great context to the story. The after stories are more or less epilogues that take place after the best ends for some extra romantic time between the characters. The art of Genso Manege is really pretty and plays up the magical whimsy of the story. I was surprised to see that this was the same artist that worked on Color Malice because of how cute and bright the art in this game is. It's a big shift from the darker, grittier style of Color Malice. One thing I do want to note though is that the kiss CGs do that weird thing where the characters' lips don't touch all the way, which is fine, I guess, but it kind of makes the characters look like they're breathing on each other's faces, which kind of takes you out of the romantic scenes a bit. Is Genso Manege worth playing? Beneath Genso Manege's soft pastels and magical whimsy lies an emotional and bittersweet fairy tale-like adventure. Where Otome games like Cafe Enchante had me low-key traumatized by the end of their story, Genso Manege does a much better job of tempering its heavier narratives with just the right amount of magic and lighthearted sweetness. There's a distinctive style to Genso Manege that gives it the feel of a fairy tale. Every element comes together to build a story that stays with you. I absolutely recommend Genso Manege. Just be mindful going in that this is not all sunshine and rainbows, but that doesn't make the journey any less worth it. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Are you going to be picking up Genso Manege, or is this going to be on your pass list? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to give a big thank you to PQ for providing a copy of Genso Manege for this review. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and let me know what you think down in the comments section. And if you want to see more content from me, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any new uploads. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods, and I'll catch you in the next video.